Welcome to another edition of IMO Sports with Pedro Justice. St. George Groves versus Chris Eubank Jr. World Boxing Series semifinal with the finals on the line. And guess what happens? Chris Eubank Jr. did not show up to win the fight. I have no idea what Chris Eubank Jr. was doing. Chris Eubank was there waiting and waiting like he was standing in line to see the Black Panther movie. I have no idea what he was waiting on, but while he was waiting, guess what he was doing? Losing rounds. You can't lose the first 2/3 of a round and then win the last third of a round and think that the judges are going to give you the rounds. The scorecards were what they were. I mean, based on how you were looking at the fight, what angles you were looking at the fight, the scorecards really didn't lie. They were there was some separation, like the 115, 113. Was it really 7-5? I mean, George Groves wasn't necessarily putting on such a magnificent display of boxing skills. However, he was the smarter boxer tonight. George Groves did what he planned to do. He had a plan, and Chris Eubank did not have a plan. He was just in there swinging wildly. Ring generalship, George Groves. He controlled the distance. He controlled the action, and what happened? He was sticking him with the jab. Sticking him with the jab. I think he outlanded him 117-92. That seems about right, where he'll land 5-6 punches. Eubank, he'll land punches near the end of the round. You can't fight 12 rounds like that, because by the end of 12 rounds, you've lost the fight. I mean, sometimes at certain points, Chris Eubank looked like an amateur. It seemed like whatever they were telling him in his corner, he wasn't listening. He wanted to be the macho man with machismo and all of this, whereas George Groves was like, I'm going to do what I can to win each round. And it seemed that way. Round 1, let me try to win this. Round 2, all the way up until round 12, even though he lost the 12th round in my book, he did what he needed to do to win the rounds. It's very disappointing for Chris Eubank. If I was him, I would only be mad at myself. You can't be mad at anyone else. You can't be mad at your father, anybody, any trainer, coach. You have to be mad at yourself, because Chris Eubank, the fighter, did not come to fight. He wanted a war and a brawl, but this is boxing, and he got outboxed and outsmarted by St. George Groves. And for that reason, he is not in the finals. I want to congratulate St. George Groves for going out there, manning up. I will say he looked a lot bigger than Chris Eubank when they rehydrated. It looked like a light heavyweight versus a middleweight. And also the cut really had no effect on the fight, because it wasn't until about the 9th round that Chris Eubank started pawing at his eye, and he was fighting the same way when he wasn't pawing. It was a disappointing display put on by Chris Eubank, and George Groves deserved the win. No controversy. Let me know what you think. Until next time, it's Pedro Justice.